Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Daily Wildcat Sports Review brought to you by Hughes Federal Credit Union. I'm Serena Tracy alongside Rachel Houston, and this was another week in sports.
We have highlights from 7 different university sports that were in action over the weekend, and we start with men's basketball that recently took on ASU. Here's editor Alec White with more on another edition of Duel in the Desert.
Arizona men's basketball traveled up north to Tempe last week to take on number 25 ASU in a sold-out Wells Fargo arena. With a tough environment raining down on them, the Wildcats opened up a 33-15 lead, yet the Sun Devils came roaring back late in the first half and early in the second half to take a 7-point lead. But 7'1" forward DeAndre Ayton scored 13 points over the final 10 minutes of the game to help Arizona pull out a 77-70 win to sweep the Sun Devils in the season series. In his Monday press conference, Sean Miller said that Ayton's impact on the team is as rare as it comes.
Hard to beat him, it really would, and you know that goes also with this season in college basketball. I mean, he's, I think, one of the country's best players.
On the flip side, women's basketball took on ASU over the weekend in both Tempe and Tucson. Saul Bookman has more details.
The Arizona women's basketball team continues to struggle this season in Adia Barnes' second year as head coach. This week, they were swept in a 2-game series by ASU, capped off by a rout by the Sun Devils in Sunday's matchup in McHale. Let's go to the highlights. Sam Thomas led all scorers with 11 points and did everything she could to keep the Wildcats in it, but it was far too much power inside by the Sun Devils that ultimately did the Wildcats in, as they lost 69-45. Adia Barnes, obviously frustrated with the defeat, had a few words to say.
We just couldn't get stops. And any kind of defense we did, we couldn't get stops. We couldn't get rebounds that time. They got rebounds in bunches. We just couldn't find a way to grin and bear or to bear down, no pun intended, and get like a stop when we needed it.
The Wildcats will wrap up play this weekend against the Oregon schools before heading to the Pac-12 tournament next week. You can follow me at Twitter at Saul_Bookman for all the updates from McHale and from senior night on Sunday.
Arizona hockey wrapped up their home season this weekend with their annual February series against ASU. In the Friday contest, Arizona tied with a loss in the shootout but came back to win Sunday afternoon. Sunday was not an easy contest. While the Wildcats won it for their seniors by a score of 6-1 with 2 tallies from both Chris Westland and Robert Smythe and 1 apiece from Justin Plumoff and Josh Larson, ASU and U of A combined for a total of 141 penalty minutes. Goaltenders Austin Wilson and Jack Burkle also dropped the mitts at center ice, and their unusual fight has gained international attention. You can find my recaps and videos from the weekend at dailywildcat.com and follow me on Twitter at @MirachelOnIce.
Now let's head over to David Skinner to get an update on how the men's tennis team did this past weekend.
The Arizona men's tennis team bounced back in their home doubleheader this past weekend against NAU and Nebraska as they improved their overall record to 8-4 heading into the teeth of their season. With a doubles record of 1-7 so far this year, the Wildcats made a point to start fast, and they did exactly that as the doubles point laid the foundation for both team wins. Junior Jonas Meyer went undefeated in doubles and singles this past weekend as the co-captain continues to establish himself as one of Arizona's cornerstones. The men's team takes off to Montgomery, Alabama this week to take part in the Blue Great Classic as they prepare for upcoming Pac-12 play.
It's February, which means baseball season has begun. Arizona baseball opened their season at home this weekend against Bryant. Here's beat reporter Jack Cooper with all the details.
Arizona baseball started their season this past weekend. After rain postponed the first game of the year to the next day, the Cats went on to sweep the doubleheader against Bryant. Arizona was only winning 1-0 in Game 1 going into the 8th inning, but that's when Cal Stevenson and Alfonso Rivas had back-to-back singles with the bases loaded to make it 4-0, and that's where the score would stay. After Game 1, starting pitcher Cody Deason talked about the game.
I mean, I've always been a competitor. I'm not going to let a run score easy, you know. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-0 count. I'm going to come back. I'm going to find my way back. Walk a guy. I'm going to find a way to get him out. So, yeah, I mean, maturity thing definitely, but just always been a competitor. So.
Arizona went on to win the second game of the day 5-1, and then on Sunday, Arizona swept the 3-game series with a score of 10-1. The Cats are in San Diego this week for the Tony Gwynn Classic against San Diego State, Michigan, and San Diego. Follow me on Twitter at Jack Cooper for updates throughout the season.
The gymnastics team had a rough meet against the Oregon State Beavers last Saturday, scoring a season low and dropping out of the top 25. 4 Gymcats, Christina Berg, Maddie Layden, Courtney Coles, and Adria Parks, were suspended for the meet due to a violation of team rules. Only 16 routines were performed, unlike the usual 24. Here's what Arizona head coach John Court had to say.
We're tough. We're tough at Arizona, and we do things the right way. And I know that starts with me because I am in charge of the team, and I know this was a very hard decision. And we have 144 days to compete and do gymnastics. We've done some fantastic things. They've been in the top 25 all year. They've broken some individual records. They've season ticket holder records. They've done a lot of good things. And unfortunately, we would always like some of those days back during the year, but we can't get them. So we'll move forward. We have some things that we need to accomplish these next 5 weeks of the season, and those are the 5 weeks that are guaranteed. And if we have a good 5 weeks, then we will certainly have a good 6th, 7th, and hopefully 8th week.
Stay up to date with everything Arizona Gymnastics by following me on Twitter at Serena_Tracy.
And finally, here's Tegan Rasha with the update on track and field.
Former Arizona Wildcat and Olympian Georgianne Moline secured her spot on Team USA for the Indoor Track and Field World Championships this past weekend. Moline placed 4th in the 400-meter race at the USA Indoor Nationals, which were held in Albuquerque. She ran her race in 51.39 seconds, tying her indoor personal record. Moline will be part of USA's 4x4 relay team, which is favored to win gold. The relay team will be looking to break the world record set by the Russians in 2006. Moline trains in Tucson full-time with Arizona's head coach, Fred Harvey. He was also her coach throughout her collegiate years. The World Indoor Championships will be held in Birmingham, Great Britain from March 1st to 4th.
Thank you for watching Wildcat Sports Review. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Wildcat Sports and at Wildcat Hoops.
You can also like us on Facebook and check out all of our content on dailywildcat.com. For Rachel Houston, I'm Serena Tracy. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.